Welcome to another deep dive, and today we're going way back in time, like thousands of years, back to ancient Egypt.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah. So we're going to learn about one of its most controversial pharaohs,
Okay.
Akhenaten. Have you heard of him?
I have heard of him, yeah.
Okay, great. So we're going to be using excerpts from this article called The Dark Mysteries of Pharaoh Akhenaten, a controversial legacy
Yeah.
to try to understand,
Okay.
who he really was, what motivated his actions, and why his story still matters, all these centuries later.
Well, that's a great question because, he's from the 18th dynasty,
Oh, yeah.
and that's like the golden age of Egypt. They were stable, prosperous,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden you have this pharaoh that just throws everything up in the air.
Yeah, he's like shaking it up big time.
Yeah. Like, was he a visionary or was he a zealot?
Right. Was this a power play or was he like,
Yeah.
I'm a true believer?
A true believer, exactly.
So one of the things that makes him so different is that he had this radical religious revolution. So back then, most cultures had lots of gods.
Polytheism.
But he was like, no, we're only going to have one god.
Yeah.
And that is Aten.
Yeah, the sun disk. I mean, this wasn't just a minor theological tweet.
Yeah.
He totally turned the Egyptian pantheon on its head.
Yes. Completely overturning it.
Yeah, he's closing temples dedicated to other gods, taking away power and influence from the priesthood.
I know. It's hard to imagine like how much power that would have been back then to like
Yeah.
make that huge of a change.
Oh, yeah, because the priesthood had a lot of power and a
Yeah.
lot of wealth.
Yeah.
And he's just taking it all away and he's putting himself in charge.
It's like I don't know. It's just like, wow.
It's crazy.
So not only that, but he's also starting to build a new capital city,
Yeah.
Akhetaten, in modern-day Amarna.
Right.
It's designed for worshiping Aten.
Right. So it's like he built a giant billboard that says, this is it. This is how it's going to be.
Yeah. So I'm picturing these grand open-air temples bathed in sunlight. Nothing like those like dimly lit temples of the past.
Absolutely. It was all very intentional, very symbolic.
Yeah. And this is where that question comes back, was this a true religious conviction?
Right?
Or was this a power play to kind of sideline the priesthood?
Exactly.
So it's like a historical mystery we're trying to unravel here.
It really is.
And to make it even more mysterious,
Yeah.
let's look at the art from this period.
Okay.
So for centuries, Egyptian art was really strict.
Oh, yeah. Very rigid. Idealized figures, all about power and eternity.
Yeah, very serious.
Right.
But then Akhenaten comes along and everything starts to change.
It's like he brought in this new artistic style.
Yeah.
Where all of a sudden you've got curvy lines, elongated limbs, really expressive faces. It's like he introduced realism and a touch of the abstract into this very ancient art form.
Yeah.
And then you have the way he depicted himself.
Oh, yeah, his self-portraits.
With the elongated features, the wide hips, the prominent belly. I mean, some people think it's a genetic disorder like Marfan syndrome. Others think it was a very deliberate artistic choice, something meant to symbolize Aten's influence.
Yeah, it's all very unusual, but also very captivating.
Oh, absolutely.
But one thing that I think is so interesting is like how often Akhenaten's family is like in the artwork.
Oh, yeah.
Like his wife, Queen Nefertiti, and their
Yeah.
children.
You never see that in traditional Egyptian art. Usually it's the pharaoh by himself, looking all powerful.
Very serious, yeah.
Exactly. And suddenly you have these warm, almost domestic scenes. I mean, I think it was a way to humanize the pharaoh.
Yeah.
Make him relatable.
Make him one of the people.
Yeah, or maybe they were presenting this new ideal for family life, centered around Aten.
It's like, wow, look at us. We're like this happy little family worshiping the sun disk.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fascinating, right?
It is. It really makes you think about the messages that leaders try to send through art.
Yeah, how art reflects culture and how art shapes culture.
And the way it can be used for propaganda.
But while Akhenaten was busy, changing the religion, the art,
Yeah,
things weren't going so well on, the political front.
that's true. It seems like he was so focused on his religious and artistic revolutions that he kind of forgot about the rest of the country.
Yeah, sometimes when you hyper-focus on one thing,
Yeah.
you lose track of the big picture.
Yeah.
And for him, the big picture was Egypt's, foreign relations
Yes,
and its economic stability,
exactly.
both of which were not doing so hot under his rule.
Yeah, we know this in part because of the Amarna letters. There's this collection of diplomatic correspondence, and there's this one letter that stands out. It's a desperate plea for military aid from one of Egypt's vassal states.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they were being attacked, and they really needed Egypt's help.
So did he help him?
Nope. He was too busy with his reforms, and he just ignored them.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And of course, that led to the vassal state's downfall.
Which meant that Egypt lost territory.
Exactly.
So it's like even the most visionary leaders, still need to be pragmatic.
They do.
Yeah. And his reforms also really hurt the economy,
Oh, yeah, big time. He messed with the traditional religious practices.
which had been in place forever.
Right, they were deeply embedded in Egyptian society.
So what happened?
Well, basically, he disrupted the whole system and caused a lot of instability.
Yeah, it was like he threw a wrench into this well-oiled machine that had been running smoothly for centuries.
That's a great analogy.
And the crazy thing is that these disruptions didn't just go away after he was gone.
Oh, no.
They continued to affect Egypt long after his reign.
And that's what makes Akhenaten so fascinating.
Yeah, it does.
He had a vision,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe he didn't think about the complexities of actually putting it into practice.
So let's talk about another really important person during this time, Queen Nefertiti.
Okay.
She wasn't just Akhenaten's wife,
Oh, no. She was much more than that.
Yeah, she played like a huge role in his reign.
She did.
Like she appeared in a lot of religious ceremonies with him.
And she might have even been a co-regent.
What does that mean?
Basically like a co-ruler.
Oh, wow. So they were sharing power.
Potentially.
Yeah.
We don't know for sure, but it's possible.
Okay, so she's super powerful.
Yeah.
And then she just disappears.
Vanishes from the historical record.
Like poof.
Yeah. It's
Oh.
one of the biggest mysteries of this period.
So what do you think happened to her?
I honestly don't know. Some people think she died. Others think she was banished or that she took on a new identity.
Oh, that's interesting.
I know, right? There's even a theory that she became the pharaoh.
What?
Yeah, some scholars believe that she ruled Egypt in secret under the name of Pharaoh Smekkar.
That would be crazy.
It would be
A female pharaoh ruling in disguise?
I know.
That would make a great movie.
It would.
So are there any other theories about why she disappeared?
Well, there's also the idea that there was growing dissent against Akhenaten's reforms,
Uh-huh.
and that maybe Nefertiti was part of that opposition.
Oh, so maybe they weren't as, united as the artwork makes it seem.
Exactly.
To their relationship.
Yeah, the relationship is a bit of a puzzle,
It is a puzzle.
and we may never know the full story.
Okay, so we've covered, the religion, the art, the politics, and Queen Nefertiti.
We've covered a lot of ground,
We have.
but we haven't even gotten to Akhenaten's death yet,
Oh, yeah.
and that's a whole other mystery.
Well, his reign definitely ended pretty abruptly.
It did, but the details about his death are as murky as everything else about him.
So, do we even know how he died?
Not really. The historical record is silent on his final years, so we're left to speculate.
Okay, so give me some speculation.
Uh,
Was he assassinated?
That's certainly possible. There were definitely people who wanted to get rid of him.
Like who?
Well, anyone who felt threatened by his reforms. The priests who lost their power and influence.
Yeah.
The nobles who were unhappy with the changes he was making.
Okay, so maybe they got together and, took him out?
It's possible.
Or maybe he just died of natural causes.
That's also possible.
So it's basically a big question mark.
It is. And what makes it even more intriguing is that there was a systematic campaign to erase him from history.
Wait, really?
Yeah, they abandoned Akhenaten, they suppressed Atenism, and they even left his name off the official king lists.
It's like they wanted to pretend he never existed.
Exactly.
That's so strange.
It is. But it tells us something about how his successors viewed him.
What do you mean?
Well, it seems like they saw him as a threat. Even in death, they were afraid of his legacy.
Wow, so they were trying to rewrite history.
They were. And that makes you wonder how much of what we know about the past has been shaped by the people who came after.
Yeah, it's like how many other stories have been lost or distorted over time.
That's a great question.
So we've uncovered a lot about Akhenaten so far,
We have.
but it feels like we're just getting started.
We are.
There's still so many questions left unanswered.
There are.
So stay with us as we delve deeper into the mysteries surrounding Akhenaten's death and try to unravel the lasting impact of his legacy.
This is gonna be good.
It is.
It really is like trying to solve a puzzle, right?
Yeah.
But we're missing some key pieces.
Yeah, like what happened to his body?
Exactly. Where's the mummy?
Right.
We have the tomb KV 55 in the Valley of the Kings,
Okay.
and there is a mummy in there.
Okay.
But the tomb was messed with, on purpose, and the mummy was pretty damaged.
Yeah.
But scientists looked at it, and it looks like it was a young guy around the same age as Akhenaten when he died.
So could it be him?
Maybe. But there's just no proof. It all comes down to the stuff around it, and science can only tell us so much.
Oh, frustrating.
It is.
Those
Adds
sound-
to all the mystery.
Yeah, it does. So we see what he did, how
Yeah.
he changed things, but we still don't really know him.
Yeah, and one of the biggest questions is,
Yeah.
was he really into Aten?
Yeah. Was it real or was this all just to gain power?
A big scheme.
Yeah.
Well, on one hand, his songs to Aten,
Hymns.
yes, his hymns to Aten, they have a lot of feeling in them. Like,
Yeah.
he really felt something for the sun god.
And even changed his name, remember?
Oh, yeah, from Amenhotep IV.
Yeah. Which had the god Amun in it.
Yeah, to Akhenaten, which means effective for Aten.
Yeah, so he's really committing.
Yeah, you can't deny that it sounds like real faith.
It does.
But then think about it politically.
Okay.
If Aten is the top god who's in charge.
Okay, that.
Right, so he takes all the power from the Amun priests who were powerful in Egypt back then.
So maybe it was about power and not faith.
Could be. Like he's saying, forget those old gods, I'm the one in charge now.
Yeah, and by saying that he controls religion.
Which is huge. He basically controlled everything then.
So was it religious or political?
That's the million-dollar question.
I don't know. It makes him even more interesting, though.
It does make you think.
Yeah, it does. So, okay, big changes in Egypt.
Big changes.
But what about after him?
What about the people that came after him?
Yeah, like Tutankhamun.
Ah, King Tut.
Yeah, he's like the most famous one now.
But Akhenaten really messed things up for him.
What do you mean?
Well, Egypt was a mess, the economy was struggling, and they weren't the big power they used to be.
So King Tut had a lot of work to do.
He did. It's funny because everyone remembers him.
Yeah, he's got the whole exhibit.
Exactly. But his reign was short, and he was young when he died.
Yeah, and most of what he did was try to fix Akhenaten's mess.
Exactly. He left Akhetaten, opened the old temples, and brought back the old gods.
So, total 180.
Yeah, completely reversed what Akhenaten did. But was it really his choice?
You're thinking maybe his advisors told him to do it.
It's possible. Tut was really young. He needed advisors, and those advisors hated Akhenaten.
So they wanted to go back to the old ways.
To their power.
Yeah. So Tutankhamun was almost a reaction to Akhenaten.
Yeah, like after a big revolution, things calmed down.
Yeah, swing back to the middle.
And I think that shows how big Akhenaten's changes were.
Yeah.
And by trying to erase him, they made sure everyone remembered him.
There's no such thing as bad publicity.
Right. Sometimes you just make things more famous by trying to hide them.
It's true. Okay, so we talked about Akhenaten and all his changes.
Religion, art, politics, even his family.
And we still have so many questions.
We really only know the basics. There's so much more to this time in Egypt.
Yeah, but he was a religious innovator.
For sure.
And changed politics and art.
And even though they tried to erase him, he left a mark on Egypt.
He really did. It's almost like he was ahead of his time, right?
Yeah, like what if he was alive today?
You know, right?
Imagine him in our world with all the tech and social media and everything.
Oh, man, he'd be all over the internet.
He would be a force to be reckoned with, that's for sure.
Would he be like a good guy or a bad guy, though?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah. Would people love him or hate him?
Probably a little of both.
I bet he wouldn't shy away from shaking things up, though.
No, he'd be disruptive for sure.
Totally.
Yeah.
Making us question everything we thought we knew.
And using social media to get his message out there.
Oh, yeah, he'd be a master at that, I bet.
Like a modern-day prophet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe he'd even start his own social media platform, dedicated to Aten.
The Sundisk app. He'd have millions of followers.
I bet he would. Maybe he'd be like Elon Musk.
Ooh, yeah. Bold, ambitious.
Not afraid to break the rules.
Yeah, or maybe more like a spiritual leader.
Ooh, yeah.
Attracting people with his ideas and charisma.
Either way, I think he'd be a big deal.
Oh, he'd be all over the news for sure.
People would be talking about him nonstop.
And that's what makes him so interesting even today.
Yeah, he was this revolutionary figure who still makes us think and debate.
Thousands of years later.
So in this deep dive, we've really explored a lot.
Yeah, his religious ideas, his artistic change, the politics, the mysteries of his family and his death, and even how they tried to erase him from history.
Yeah, it's amazing how one person can have such a lasting impact.
It really is.
So what are the big takeaways here?
Well, I think for me, it's that what we believe can really change the world.
For good or bad?
Exactly. And we see how art is part of that change.
Yeah, we're reflecting it, but also influencing it.
And history isn't just one story.
Right, there are many different perspectives.
And we have to look at them all.
We've also seen that even the most powerful people can't control everything.
Yeah, they can try to change history, but sometimes that just makes things more interesting.
It's like they say the truth will come out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think Akhenaten's story encourages us to think for ourselves.
To question what we're told.
And to remember that the past is complicated.
I think Akhenaten would have a lot to say about our world today.
I think so too.
Whether we'd agree with him or not is another question.
Exactly. But that's what makes exploring history so rewarding.
Yeah, it makes us think and learn from the past.
And hopefully make better choices in the present.
So if you're curious about Akhenaten, keep learning.
Yeah, there's so much more out there.
Read about him, study the art from his time, even those Amarna letters.
And come to your own conclusions about this mysterious pharaoh.
Maybe you'll even find something new that helps us understand him better.
That would be amazing.
It would. So thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the world of Akhenaten.
It's been a pleasure.
Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.
Until next time.
Bye, everyone.